Everyone who contests, if you're going to rest to win. And precisely is what I'm doing.
In this tranquil environment, across the length and breadth of this country, and equating with the 1980 elections that ushered in independence, President Emmerson Dambudzo Mnangagwa spoke about it also.
Your key message to the nation?
Peace, 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 non-violence. During, before, and after.
Yes, Zimbabwe decides her destiny, despite what the prophets of doom had predicted. The people of Ward 131 in the Kwekwe area, Sherwood, were at the venue by 6 o'clock in the morning, waiting to cast their votes, which only began at 7 o'clock. By 8:30, the president was there and he also cast his vote. Ruben Barwe, ZBC News, Sherwood, Kwekwe.
Meanwhile, Vice President General retired Dr. Constantino Chiwenga and his wife, Colonel Minotabo Chiwenga, have cast their votes at Heritage School in Harare. The Vice President spoke to our reporter, Olindori, after casting his vote.
People have been voting across Harare, and we are now at the Heritage School where the Vice President General retired Dr. Constantino Chiwenga and his wife have cast their vote. They say they are excited about this year's election and the hope for peace.
This is a perfect experience which I have had. What we now see, the peaceful lining up of people going to show, to express their will is very important. It must start as it is and must continue to the end. And tomorrow we must start building the Zimbabwe that we want.
Those we also spoke to as they lined up to cast their vote say they are excited to cast their votes. Among them first-time voters, among them third-time voters. And they say this year's election has been peaceful and they are quite excited.
Ndasvika zvekuma around 7 tasvika tikaenda paqueue asi tazonzwa kuti tinotanga watasasitara kuti rimwe remusystem saka tazobva tikanotasa mazita tikanoona zita rangu riripo ndipo ndazodzoka kwakubata line zvakare.
Panze apo tine vanhu vanga vachisvika tingangoti kuma 20 something vanga vatomirira by 5 to 7. So patazotanga ona first after 30 minutes tanga tatoivhotesa vanhu 36, madzimai 15 nevarume 21. So process iri kufamba zvakanaka.
So we will continue to give you updates throughout the day as we move around various constituencies across the Harare Metropolitan Province as Zimbabwe decides. Back to you in the studio.
Thank you, Olin. On the same note, Citizens Coalition for Change presidential candidate Advocate Nelson Chamisa has cast his ballot at Kuwadzana 2 Primary School in Harare. We link up with our diplomatic correspondent Josephine Mugio for more. Good afternoon, Josephine.
A good afternoon to you. We are at Kuwadzana 2 Primary School. As you can see, queues are still there. The queues have been consistent since morning. I must say we got here at around 10 a.m. this morning and people keep coming through to cast their votes. Earlier on, we witnessed the coming in of CCC presidential candidate, that is Advocate Nelson Chamisa. He came through and he cast his ballot, and after that he spoke to the media. Let's watch what he said.
We know that we are winning this election. We have won in this election. There is absolute support in the countryside and in the urban areas. There is no way any other candidate is going to win in this country.
So before Advocate Chamisa came through to cast his ballot, we also did witness the arrival of the SADC observers, and we managed to speak to the head of the observer mission, that is Dr. Neves Mumba, on how they are seeing the process so far since morning.
We're happy to see the long lines of people waiting to vote in terms of the enthusiasm levels. We are still observing some of the things that are happening in the polling stations. We are not able to sort of acquire a position right now because we need to go through several polling stations. But we are glad that the situation is calm. There are no incidents, and we think this is a positive. That's what we've been praying for. and we hope this will continue for the rest of the day. And so far, so good in terms of calmness.
So that's it from us for the moment, and we'll continue giving you live coverage of what's going on across the country.
Thank you, Josephine. Former Mozambican President, His Excellency Joaquim Chissano, who is in Zimbabwe to observe the country's general elections, has expressed satisfaction with the voting process.
The former Mozambican leader was part of election observers who witnessed the opening of the David Livingstone Primary School polling station. He also witnessed the opening of ballot boxes and casting of postal votes. Speaking soon after the process, the former Mozambican president expressed satisfaction with how things turned out.
It was useful because they had time to explain all the arrangements. And the speed is it's starting in a good speed, so I hope that they are going to manage.
Some of the voters who spoke to this news crew at various polling stations in Harare expressed satisfaction with the voting process.
My name is Progress Katete. Yes, it was my first time to vote. The instructions were pretty clear, so I just looked for my name on the notice board, and then I got in and got the papers to cast my vote, and that was just pretty clear.
Polling stations opened at 7 a.m. with results of the National Assembly and Local Authority polls expected to be announced at constituency command centers. Abigail Tembo, ZBC News, Harare.
Voting is progressing well in Buhera North constituency, with the polls characterized by a peaceful environment. We link up with our reporter Peter Chivima, who is in Buhera North. Good afternoon.
2023 Zimbabwe decides. Good afternoon. We are now at Mavaire Business Center in Buhera North constituency. With me here, I'm joined by the presiding officer at Mavaire Business Center, Mr. Joseph Maramba, to walk us through how the situation is progressing here. Mr. Maramba, can you tell us how is the situation here?
Right, tavhurawo isusu na 7 AM. Papa torine queue yange yato apa. Papa ne 6 females ne 3 males. Sezvo muri kungoona zvo zvakaita apa. Vanhu vari kuuya. Ma incidences etingatomboti vanhu vari tine 1 person wotashaya mu voters roll. Asi kesi yacho takwidza kumashefu. No wimba kuti vachatarisa ku voters roll iri ikoko iri yavanayo ikokoko.
Oh, thank you. That was Mr. Joseph Maramba speaking on the need for the electorate to continue maintaining peace. Back to the studio.
Thank you, Peter. On the same note, the voting process in Norton constituency is running smoothly, with voters casting their ballots in a peaceful environment. Our reporter Fungai Jachi gives us more. Good afternoon, Fungai.
This Wednesday, Zimbabwe is deciding, and the people of Norton have heeded to the call to exercise their constitutional right. As early as 5 a.m., people are already queuing at the various polling stations to cast their ballots. Amongst the early birds were 75-year-old Gogo Hilda Mafaranisi and 74-year-old Gogo Joyce Mangwere, who were amongst the first people to actually cast their ballots at a polling station in Ward 7. Well, there are still a lot of people who are queuing to cast their ballots as Zimbabwe decides on their leaders for the next 5 years. That is what I have for you for now. We will definitely give you more updates as to what will be happening in Norton constituency.
We will continue with these updates later on in the bulletin. Up next, as Zimbabwe strives for food self-sufficiency, communities in Chivu who benefited from an irrigation scheme established under the Second Republic are basking in the glory of a thriving winter wheat crop.
The construction of Chivu Dam in Mashonaland East Province changed the fortunes of communities who once relied on rain-fed agriculture. Apart from ensuring the expanding town of Chivu is guaranteed constant water supply for the next 50 years, The dam has also empowered the local community through the setting up of an irrigation scheme. A visit to the scheme this Tuesday revealed a thriving wheat crop. Mr. Ishmael Mutirwara is not only a beneficiary of the scheme, but also employed to operate irrigation equipment and ensure production runs smoothly. For him and other villagers in the vicinity of the dam, farming was now a gamble due to erratic rainfall patterns. Sometimes it paid off, but more often than not, harvests were poor. Since the construction of the dam, which was officially commissioned earlier this year, communal farmers are expecting their second harvest and are optimistic of their contribution to the attainment of national food security.
Sezotiri vanhu vanga vagara mugaro watatakaita muminda yedu mukatu chakatomboya tine kakushora chii chatakuda kusangana nacho futi asi tazove netsananguro yatakatsanangurirwa nayo nevakauya kutipa muono wechirongwa ichi zvakapinda matiri tikaona kuti zvinhu zvinenge zvinotoone upenyu hwakanaka.
Chief Director in the Ministry of Lands, Agriculture, Fisheries, Water and Rural Development, Engineer Tinaye Shemotazu, says irrigation schemes such as the one in Chivu are key in ensuring 350,000 hectares are put under irrigation by 2025.
We have moved a step further and said the dam is not the project, but that which the water that has been dammed is used for becomes the project. So as we were constructing the dam, we were also developing this particular irrigation scheme, and as you can see, we have a very good crop of wheat, and this is in the grand context of the 350,000 hectares that we seek to get to under irrigation by 2025.
Beneficiaries of the Chivu irrigation scheme have set up a company as government seeks to ensure such crucial projects are efficiently run given their importance in contributing to national food security. Josephine Mugio, ZBC News, Chivu.
The past 5 years have witnessed a large number of young people venturing into viable commercial agriculture underpinned by robust government initiatives to empower young people.
The Mashonaland West-based duo of 21-year-old Tarime Kedzwa Chidawanyika, who is the Vice President of the Young Farmers Federation and a budding wheat farmer, as well as 35-year-old Batsirai Magaya, who has a thriving 140-hectare wheat crop, are clear examples of youths who have become the mainstay of the record production of key crops under the Second Republic. Despite young Chidawanyika not owning land, their inspiring stories indicate how youths have taken heed of advice to embrace various government empowerment programs to attain national food security.
As soon as I finished my school, I went into farming full-time, and with the help of the government through Command and those other input schemes, it actually helped us a lot to get up and move.
Here, as you can see, I'm growing wheat 120 hectares, and in summer I do tobacco again 120. Then I've got maize 70 hectares.
Tichaona Mapfoche and Farai Chirinda from Lions Den have similarly inspiring stories to other youths who are keen on embarking in commercial agriculture.
Economically, now we're able to farm. We've got wheat, we've got livestock, we do row cropping, and we're looking forward to be in a position to increase our area of cropping so that we can be able to fill our national silos.
Government's sustained support to empower youths has attracted an unprecedented number of young farmers who have contributed to the newly found status of Zimbabwe's food self-sustenance and a record tobacco output.
Of the 90,192 hectares, which is a record production for the country, we see youths increasingly getting involved. From a land reform perspective, this is good news. Now we are able to bequeath the next generation early on with the essential attributes to ensure that there's not just succession on farms, but that agriculture is indeed a business.
Government's vision to sink 35,000 solar-powered bores across the country is fast becoming a reality, with 5 villages under Chief Mapanzure in Zhishavane being the latest to benefit from the program.
Water shortages in Toad, Tigere, Mbelengwa and Nyama villages under Chief Mapanzure in Zhishavane are now a thing of the past after government and its development partners installed 5 solar-powered bores in the area. For Gogo Fadzaipedzi and other villagers from Nyama area, life will never be the same again after the transformative development.
Zviborani zvimwe zvinenge zviri kure nesu isu takura kunenge kune mukwidza kuti utakure zvanga zviri zvinhu zvanga zvichitinetsa.
Mvura haichanetsi kuchera, haichafaniri neyemugojo yangochera pamatepa saka tinenge tava mberi.
Isu kuno kwedu panyama tafara chaizvo.
The borehole sinking scheme is meant to ensure that every village has access to potable water. Karijushe, ZBC News, Zhishavane.
For these and more stories, visit our website www.zbcnews.co.zw and our social media platforms Facebook and YouTube ZBC News Online, as well as our Twitter handle at ZBC News Online. We take a short break. Do stay tuned.
Wanga uchiziva here kuti patiri kunovhota musi wa 23 August ndiwe wega une kodzero yekuziva vhoti yako paunenge uri mupolling booth.
Your vote is your secret and no one is allowed to force you to review your vote.
Polling stations open from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Remember to carry your ID, metal or plastic, or a valid Zimbabwean passport or a waiting pass with an original photograph. Zimbabwe harmonized elections, 23 August 2023. Our Zimbabwe, our responsibility.
It's the election season. As Zimbabwe decides, all eyes are on ZBC, and the national broadcaster will not disappoint but deliver. Don't be left out in marketing your product on ZBC's platforms. We have an amazing promotion from the 22nd to the 30th of August 2023. ZBC offers you an incredible knockdown on its rate card during the live broadcast of the 2023 general elections. From the election eve, polling day, results announcements, and inauguration. Take the opportunity to advertise on ZBC platforms where large audiences are guaranteed. For your booking, contact Mildred Banda on 071-283-1177 or mildred.banda@zbc.co.zw.
It's the Premier League, all on DSTV. All the goals, clashes, and moments. All of Rashford, Salah, and Saka.
This start is getting better and better and better.
All in HD.
It just makes no sense.
Available on all these bouquets to choose from. To watch on all these devices. Stay connected for all the action. It's the Premier League, all on DSTV.
Welcome back to Lunchtime News, and we continue giving you updates of the 2023 general elections, with voting progressing smoothly in Rushinga constituency, with polling stations having opened on time and voters expressing satisfaction with the process. We link up with our National and Central Bureau Chief Tapiwa Machemedze for more.
2023 Zimbabwe decides. Voting is progressing smoothly in Rushinga constituency of National and Central. The ZBC News crew visited several polling stations where all is going well. Zimbabweans are electing the president, members of the House of Assembly, and councillors. This is ZBC News, the real African voice. 2023 Zimbabwe decides.
Thank you, Topiwa. On the same note, voting is also in progress in Chitungwiza and Seke constituencies, with the polls characterized by a peaceful environment. We link up with our reporter, Colette Musanyira, for more. Good afternoon, Colette.
It's a very good afternoon. The voting process is progressing well at Second North and St. Mary's constituencies. This news crew has visited various polling stations in these constituencies where the electorate confirmed a smooth process. According to the electorate, the polling stations opened promptly at 7 a.m., but there was a delay in the delivery of ballot papers for local authorities, which delayed commencement of the voting process at some polling stations. According to election officers who spoke to this news crew, everything is now in place, and voters are still checking in to exercise their constitutional rights as the country is choosing the president, legislators and councillors through the ballot. We'll continue giving you more updates as the day progresses.
Thank you, Colette. We now give you news from beyond our borders, where tens of thousands of Canadian residents have been told to leave home and evacuate to safe areas amid unprecedented blazes as parts of the country remain under a state of emergency, with more than 1,000 wildfires burning across that country. Canada is enduring its worst wildfire season in this August, with more than 30,000 people forced to flee from wildfire-threatened cities.
One moment you're hopeful, then the next moment they're saying no, it's taken a turn for the worst. We also drove through communities that had been evacuated before us, and just looking at that devastation, it was heartbreaking. The human spirit is of resilience. Like, I didn't know I had strength to drive for 20 hours on 2 hours of sleep and still be awake at 3 in the morning, just, trying to make it. I've seen how resilient we can be, and, the spirit of just being family. No one is discriminating anybody else. The moment they see your number plate, they're like, oh my God, you're from the Northwest Territories, you're from Yellowknife. Oh, that's my family, We've just become closer.
The whole city was just filled with smoke, and you would think like maybe we are just being engulfed in flames. It was not an easy thing, but we are grateful that we managed to make it.
In our arts news, musicians from Chipinge have been presented with a perfect opportunity to showcase their talent after a recording studio was established in the town, courtesy of a partnership between a local recording company and the business community.
Passion Java Records and Chipinge-based businessmen Fungai and Dzidzai Mapuya have teamed up to promote talent in Chipinge after setting up a music studio in the town. The modern studio has been endorsed by music star Ja Praiser and Harare-based Chillspot Records producers led by DJ Fantan, who performed at the official opening on Monday.
I love you.
Taitambudzika panyaya yematransport cost kuenda kumastudios ari kunana Harare ngenyaya yekuti mabus fares aitishupawo, saka zvaiva padhuze zvichatirerukira.
Tasimbisa maita basa vatibatsira. Aiwa studio yaiswa kanyi kunokoka ichatibatsira pauti tichawanawo exposure.
DJ Fantan said his team is ready to nurture talent from Chipinge.
Chachana now because to discover more talent mu Chipinge. Usually tanga tichingowana artists from Harare because ndoko kune ma studios and quality.
For local businessmen Fungai and Dzidzai Mapuya, the investment is meant to develop local talent and discourage youths from taking drugs.
President vakati no kumutoriro. Saka tiri kuita zvinhu zvese zvestudio kuitira kuti vakomana vasikana vese pane vanhu vakawanda vane matalents ekuti maybe vanokwanisa kurekoda mamusic.
According to the arrangement, budding musicians from Chipinge will be afforded free recording sessions with seasoned producers. Chamuka Charakupa, ZBC News, Chipinge.
As you are aware, Zimbabweans are voting today, and we continue to give you updates where right now in Gokwe district voting is progressing smoothly, with huge turnout at most polling stations. We get more from our political editor, Bruce Chawanda. Good afternoon, Bruce.
Voting in all polling stations in Gokwe district started in earnest with no incidences of violence. Polling stations opened at 7 a.m. on the dot and queues were being cleared on time, but the general feeling is that the process was very smooth. In Gokwe Central constituency, we visited Mafumo Primary School, where polling station opened on time, starting with the elderly. Some voters said all is smooth and no challenges have been faced yet, which was the same sentiment shared in Gokwe Nembudzia constituency at Chinyenyetu Primary School. In Gokwe district, elections have been generally peaceful and people are out in their numbers to cast their votes.
The people of Mutasa district are exercising their democratic right this Wednesday as they join the rest of the country in electing the country's leadership for the next 5 years. We get more from our Manicaland Bureau Chief, Kenya's Chivuje, who is currently in Mutasa Central.
2023 Zimbabwe decides. We are at Zongoro polling station in Mutasa Central constituency. Voting started at 7 a.m. in the morning as per the dictates of the law. As you can see, voting is in progress and there are more women than men at the moment. We are now joined by the locals to give us an insight on the voting process so far.
Ndabva kumba kwangu na 6 kuuya panapa ndokupandamirawo pamutsitsi zvikazi mbuya matichembere pindai pamberi kwaubva ndatopinda pamberi kwaubva ndatovhota handina dambudziko iro ndaona ndavhota zvakanaka.
Tatinayo nguva yakanaka kubva patatanga kusvika patapedza tasevhwa mune zvakanaka. Tinombosangana nedambudziko nguva yedu yatakatarisira kuti yatakanga takatauriwa ndo yatangosangana tichingosvika pakudini kusvika tichingoshandisa iyo
zvese ndapiwa ndavhotawo zvakanaka zviri kuita vamwe.
Sekutanga kuvhota zvakanaka, masevhisi avo ari faster than zvandinombozwa zvichitaurwa nevamwe. Ini zvandifadza kuti ndikwanise kuionawo sarudzo dzangu dzari kuti zvandinodawo kwanise kusarudzira munhu andinoda kuti ange ari pachigaro.
The situation is calm and serene here, and there are no reports of violence. This is ZBC News, the real African voice. 2023, Zimbabwe decides.
Thank you, Kenya. We now give you sports news. The titanic clash between defending champions FC Platinum and log leaders Highlanders is the highlight of the Kasulaga Premier Super League match day 20 set for the weekend.
Log leaders Highlanders make the short journey to Shane for a date with the defending champions FC Platinum at Mandava Stadium on Saturday. The match promises to be a cracker besides the two teams' current fortunes, where both are on top of their game, while the Platinum Miners have not been at their imperious best. FC Platinum will have revenge on their minds after falling 2-1 to Highlanders when the two teams met in April. That coincidentally was FC Platinum's first defeat of the season, and they have gone on to lose 5 more matches. While for Boso, it was a statement of intent which has seen them going on a 19-match unbeaten run. On the same day, New Boys Greenfield take on Hawange at Gibo Stadium, while second place Dengezi Platinum Stars face a troubled Triangle Baobab. A fluctuating Chicken Nina up against struggling Kremlin Bullets as ZPC Kariba tackles in out-of-form Caps United in Nyamunga Stadium. The last match of the day will see struggling Black Rhinos taking on equally troubled Bulawayo Chiefs at Bada Stadium. Sunday sees Dynamos battling Simba Bore Baba Field Stadium, Yada hosts Shisham at Baobab Stadium, and Manika Diamonds faces Heroin Towers at Gibo. Lawrence Truseda, ZBC News, Harare.
Back to our 2023 general elections update. Voting is in motion in Chegutu West constituency as Zimbabweans exercise their constitutional right and the 2023 general elections. Stanley James is on the ground to give us more details. Good afternoon, Stanley.
It's a very good afternoon to you all. We are now in Chegutu West, Ward 12, at a proposed site for a primary school, which is a polling station or a polling center where people from the constituents are coming to exercise their constitutional right in the 2023 general elections. From what we have observed, the polling station commenced full-scale business early in the morning by 7 a.m. and voters are still coming to cast their votes. From what we have also observed, the process is also going on an efficient note, with also voters being given time to check on the voter registration before they exercise their constitutional right. So basically, the presiding officer has revealed to us that they are optimistic that they will meet the set guidelines in terms of ensuring that voters are all saved by the end of the day. So basically, the situation is also calm and very peaceful in Chegutu West, Ward 12. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Stanley. In Mashonaland East Province, voting is also progressing well, with first-time voters and the elderly braving the heat to exercise their democratic right. Wellington Makonese and Valentine Mabugu are ready with an update.
A very good afternoon to you. Good afternoon, viewers. We are in Goromonzi, where there are three constituencies up for grabs. That is Goromonzi West, Goromonzi North, and Goromonzi South. And what you have been observing is that people came as early as 5 a.m. to queue up for the election, which is almost at midway through. And this is just but one of the 23 constituencies that are in Mashonaland East Province. And yes, Valentine, your observations towards the day.
Indeed, quite the norm. We did see the voters' roll being pasted on the walls, people checking their names, people coming in as early as 4 a.m. and some have already cast their vote and gone back home. And so far it's flowing from the observation that we got, and also from the different polling offices that are here explaining the process to the voters, where they should go, which box they should post in after casting their vote as well. And quite interesting as well is the number of first-time voters coming through as well. And we did manage to speak to a few of them, asking how it was, and they did express that it was quite easy and simply explained. And those that even started voting in 1980, would you believe, still voting, showing the democratic processes that Zimbabwe gets to enjoy and give to its people.
Indeed, and to show that the democratic processes are open indeed, we have a number of independent candidates that are participating in the various constituencies that we have been through, Murewa South and Murewa North. And also here in Goromonzi, we have two parties that are contesting CCC and ZANU-PF, as well as two independent candidates that are also in the race. So we'll be giving you more details with the progression of the day. Back to the studio.
Thank you. Do stay tuned for more updates, as more updates will be coming throughout the day. 2023 Zimbabwe decides. This is Prudence Motimbanyoka with Peaceways Romunyika on Sign Language. Stay blessed.
We asked the children, how many of you brushed this morning? And this